So I'm afraid that the next few episodes are going to be a bit crap because we're working on the heads. Get it? So this is the holding tank, and it was rescued from a boat that actually we got the engine off and the mast. So it's a bit of an old used head holding tank, but I've leak tested it and it's fine. So well, when I say I leak tested it, I put loads of petrol in it and it didn't come out anywhere, so that's good enough for me. So I haven't fitted it, but I do know that when Nick was doing the engine room, he put a bracket behind the engine room for the holding tank, and I haven't tested it, and I'm kind of hoping that it's right. I think he test fitted it, I don't remember him telling me that, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze this tank into where I'm hoping to put it forever and ever, and then if it fits, great. If it doesn't, then I need to make a plan. But after that's fitted, then we're gonna ply line the walls. So the walls will actually be ply lined, and I'm gonna test fit the actual head, and then I'm gonna start like planning the shower pan and the bulkhead at the back, and then it's all coming out and it's all getting fiberglass and it's all going back in, and then it's getting taped and sealed all the way around. So the heads will basically be it'll basically be a wet room shower. So let's have a quick look. There will be a bulkhead here and a door. So the door will be here. There'll be a nice entryway into the shower. And you'll stand in here. So there's plenty of headroom for people like me. I'm 5'7", 5'8", depending who's asking. And the shower will be here, and then the actual head will be here. And there'll be a bulkhead here with an access hatch to get back to the heater and to the water heater, the holding tank and the plumbing. And then will be a shower tray that's got a sump and a pump that'll pump it up through a hole, out through a through hole. So yeah, so I've got a lot of work to do here, and I think it's going to take a few months. But yeah, all I can do is just get cracking. That was a little awkward, but not too bad. When we go back there, you're going to hear the heater whirring and whirring, so just ignore it. I'm not turning it off because it's cold. So let's have a look. Okay, so remember we put the heater here and it's working away fine, but that's where the holding tank goes. Get a bit of light in here. So that's where the holding tank is going to live. Sits behind the engine on its own bracket, and I'm planning to put some kind of rubber between the steel and the stainless, both top and bottom. And yeah, so you can just about get into the top of it. For the inspection plate, there's I think that's where the poo goes in, and that's where the poo comes out, and there's another one here as well for poo too. I think it's all for poo. But anyway, there's a breather over there to let the poo breathe, and yeah, so this is my holding tank. I'm not really sure about what the legalities are of holding tanks in Ireland, but I know that pretty much everywhere we take the boat there will be some kind of regulation to, and rightfully so, to store your poo and get rid of it more correctly. So yeah, this is what this is all for. This is where the poo goes. Right, so that was actually a nice easy test, just to make sure that the holding tank actually fit where it was meant to fit. And next stage is to keep going with these guys here. Basically put all of these support structures in for the paneling, make some templates, and then make those out of 6mm ply and put them in place, and then build the bulkhead on the back. I'm going to build the bulkhead of 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, and then a 5th piece to go in the middle. So right, there's a load of work in this, so I'm just going to keep going and tip away at it. So a bit of progress. I thought I had the time lapse running, but I didn't, sorry. But so I'm making a template here. So I've made it a bit smaller, so I don't want to cut around these because it's a bit of a pain to cut this down. But I'll just add 100 odd mil to the plywood, right? But basically, what I'm doing is I'm making these templates, and they're pretty close to what they should be on the plywood. I'm going to make them overlap at the bottom, so when I have the plywood, I'm going to put it in and fit it, and then cut through the both of them so that they work, so that they fit exactly. So this is the top panel. It's still a bit too big. I also question my thinking when I put that junction box there, because I don't need it there, and it's in the way now. It's annoying me, but I'm not going to take it out, because otherwise, like, I won't have enough conduit to go around to the electrical cabinet, because there'll be a break there and it'll be a pain in the ass later on. But yeah, so basically this panel is almost in. It just needs to, so you can see just the bottom of the batten going across. There's one above it that it actually needs to be, so you can see that line there, it needs to be in line with that. So we've got plenty of material to work with. It's just a case of kind of trimming this to get it in. But time spent now won't be wasted, because I really need to have this perfectly well fitted before I go fiberglassing it. So I want this perfectly fitted so that I can just pop it in no problem, and then take it out and glass it. So if we have a quick look from a bit further away, yeah, starting to look a little bit more finished back there now. One panel's in there, I feel a bit more motivated. But yeah, so we'll get this cut in, and then I'm going to have to do the bottom piece in two pieces, because a piece that big actually doesn't fit through the companionway. So get this fitted, fit a panel there, and then make a panel for the bottom as well. So there'll be 3 panels. Yeah, and that won't be such a big deal anyway, but yeah. So I'm not sure if this is the best way to do it, I don't really know, but a little trick I've been using, of course, over the course of the project, especially when fitting a panel like this, is I get it as close to the top as I can, square to a square edge. So I've got the square edge, so basically the front bulkhead here is the square edge. So it fits up against that, and then it means that I can slide it up and down against that face. So now I kind of started here and I edged it up until I had these slots cut, and now I've edged it up until I can't go any further. So you see it's backed up against this this beam here for the overhead, and it hasn't touched that one. So it means that I need to remove material from here to bring it up. So I only want to take a little bit off at a time. So I'm going to use a piece of, it's about 1 inch thick timber, and then I'll just kind of hold it up to the top like this, and then I'll put a mark, and then I'll go over here and I'll put another mark, and then a mark here, another mark here, and then one at the end. And then I'll draw, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, because the overhead is going to take up any discrepancies anyway. But yeah, basically what I want to do now is I want to draw a line joining all those points so it slopes down, and that will give me a rough kind of outline of how the deck is formed. So all I need to do now is join those and then edge it down towards that. I've loads of room on the bottom, so I try and leave as much space as I can at the bottom of the piece of wood, because if I make a mistake, I've still got loads of material left before I cut the bottom off. So hopefully that makes sense, and it's not completely convoluted and backwards to how it should be done, but here it's worked so far. Okay, so you can see now that we've got the top panel, middle panel and a bottom panel in, and the floor panel will be coming up to that bottom panel there. Still have to design all that, but the plan now is to figure out where the bulkhead is going to go for dividing the bathroom or the heads from the what I'm calling the engineering section, where all of the cool stuff goes on. So the plan will be to build a frame in here, so it'll be glued to the engine room here, and then glued and screwed to the panels along here, and then I'll have to build a frame of some kind to attach it at the top. The ultimate goal is to take these out and fiberglass them. So I want to do all of the mock-up. I want to mock the toilet up, I want to mock the plumbing up, all the anti-siphon loops and where the seacocks are going. Mark all that up first, and then take all of this out and fiberglass it. So you can see my heater is firing up because it's getting cold. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to crack on with trying to get the frame done here and start making templates for the bulkhead at the back. So yeah. So a little bit of a tangent to working on the heads, because the weather's gone a little bit nasty again. It's really windy, and being on the boat when it's like this it can be a little bit difficult. So now we've got the whole panel sides done. The whole side panels are done. So they need to be fiberglass, and the temperature needs to come up a little bit to use fiberglass anyway. So we're going to move on a little bit, just as a diversion, and what we're going to do is we're going to start oiling and varnishing some of the Iroko stuff, like the doors and some of the cabinetry. So I brought these drawers and doors from the galley up to the shed because it's not windy up here and it's dry. So I'm going to start sanding these with 100 grit, get them all smooth and make sure that there's no bad blemishes or anything like that, and then coat them with this Dexole saturator. So the idea with this stuff is to saturate the timber. It's like an oil. It's like an oil. Yeah, it's like a teak oil. And then when that soaks in for a couple of days, you use the D2, which is the varnish. It's like an oil-based varnish. So it's a two-step process. Takes a little bit longer than normal varnish, just slapping on normal varnish. But it's meant to be like the proper stuff for new wood and stuff like that. So a few episodes ago, we were talking about what we were going to go for, and I had loads of people saying use teak oil, and this is kind of like that. It's the best of both, really. So I'm very excited to see how it turns out. Like the wood is kind of starting to get a bit mucky and stuff from just being on the boat without any protection on it. So it'll be really nice to get this done. So without much further shite talking, I'm going to start sanding and start oiling and getting these coated and protected. So yeah, you can just watch me sanding now for the next while. Okay, so the doors and the two drawers from the galley, where's the other one? The other one's over there. They're all sanded now, and what the plan is, and what you have to do is, you have to wipe them down with methylated spirits, and then I've got some brushes there, and you brush the D1 on, and you're supposed to leave it for 15 minutes, but you're supposed to put loads and loads and loads on every 15 minutes until the wood doesn't soak it in anymore. Not sure what that means, and the instructions are a little bit vague, but hopefully it'll become clear. So yeah, I'm going to wipe all these doors down now with methylated spirits to get any oils kind of off my hands or any dust or anything off them, and then start loading them up with oil. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the transformation will be like, because I like there's some beautiful grain in this timber. You've got to remember as well, this timber is very old stuff. It was reclaimed from an old nunnery and some other places as well. That was some old stuff donated to me. Some of it's new. I mean, this is actually a veneered plywood, but you can't tell. You can only tell where it's kind of gone through a little bit off through that first veneer. But yeah, it's a veneered Iroko plywood. Apparently Lloyd's approved. They use it in boat building in the UK, and it's supplied by an Irish company up in Limerick. So yeah, I'm gonna clean these down and start oiling them, and I'm very excited. I've just wiped down this drawer here with methylated spirits. All the rest are done. So that's just drying off, and yeah, so the next step now is to get the D1 and load it up onto this Iroko. I've sanded this with 100 grit, and there's no like kind of machined edges left or anything. It's like nice and smooth, but I don't want to be too perfect about this stuff. Like the varnish, obviously I want to keep dust out of it and stuff like that, and but like this is going to be, it's going to have a pretty hard life, I would assume. Well, I hope so, because that means I'm sailing hard. But yeah, I don't want to be too perfect about everything. Like, the varnish is there to do a job, and it's there to protect the timber. And as a bonus in my head, it's going to look good. So I'm not going to be overly perfect about every kind of little joint being perfect and everything sanded perfectly. I'm going to do my best, but, you know, get it 80% of the way there and I will be very happy. So yeah, we'll start. This isn't dry fully yet, so we'll just let that methylated spirits kind of evaporate off now, and then put the D1 on. But yeah, basically I just wanted to make the point that, like, there's going to be a lot of people out there who are professionals at this, and that's fantastic, and I completely understand. But at the end of the day, this is the first time I've actually even put oil on a piece of wood or any varnish. So, you know, cut me some slack if you are looking at it and going, oh my god. You can see if you get nice and close, like, you know, it's nicely sanded. Like, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but that edge there is pretty round. Like, there's no edges or corners as such. There's a few little kind of dings and stuff, but I'm not going to sand those out, because if this is too perfect, it'll be like that car who hasn't been driven in 3 years because it's too clean. So yeah, right, I'm waffling. Let's get some oil on this. So you can actually apply this with a rag as well, but I tried to do a little piece there a while ago with a rag, and I felt like I was picking it up as I was putting it down, if you know what I mean. So I felt like I was wasting a lot, and that it wasn't allowing it to fully soak, so I'm just going to put it on with a brush. The beauty of oil as well is, if you do get some dust in it, like, once the oil dries, it can just be dusted away. So we'll just lash this on and see what it looks like. So, I don't know if you can see that now, it looks pretty nice. So they say to load it up, wait 15 minutes and then load it up again until the wood doesn't take any more. And then it goes matte, apparently. So, I mean, already you can see there's before and after, and it looks pretty nice. This wood is beautiful. They say Iroko is called a poor man's teak, but, like, it's not expensive. Well, from my experiences, it isn't crazy money. It's extremely hard wearing, it's very oily, so it lasts forever, and it looks beautiful. So I don't really understand everybody's sniffing at Iroko, because, yeah, it's beautiful. So another little job I need to do, which isn't too bad, is I got this 24 litre, it's an isotemp calorifier. So what it's designed to do is heat water through a 240 volts or 110 wherever you are in the world immersion, and it can also heat water using the engine coolant, which is used to, you can plumb it through these inlets and outlets and heat the water inside for showers and kind of washing up. But when I got it, there were a few bits missing. The electrics were missing, and the immersion was goosed, basically. It was rotten. So I took that out and threw it away, and I bought a new one with a new gasket and everything like that. So I'm going to put that in. I need to source the electrical components, like there's a safety thermostat and then there's a normal thermostat. So like the lower thermostat will control how hot it is, and if that one breaks, there's a safety thermostat which cuts the whole thing off completely. So I need to source those, but worst case, we'll use it and plumb it with the engine while I try and find the electrical stuff. So we have this immersion. So this is just a coil. Well, it's a coil basically that just pumps electricity through it and gets hot. And that connects on to this, like that. So I'll bolt that in now, and then that can fit into the calorifier. I need to remember how this actually went together. There's a couple of seals and stuff like that as well. So yeah, I'm going to crack on and figure out how this goes back together. So a bit of an abrupt ending to this video. Obviously, with the way things are in the world at the moment, there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of things that are a bit strange, and that's not too far removed from what's going on down here as well. I'm still working away. I've been on, as you can probably tell by like my face and my hair and my general appearance, I've been on the boat isolated for 10 days now. Just like, that's just the way it is at the moment. Everyone's isolated. We're another 2 weeks away from even being considered to be left out into the world again. So I am currently finishing jobs that I started in, say, last summer, like small jobs, you know, like fitting headliner that I would have kind of put off to do bigger jobs. So there's loads and loads and loads of small jobs that I'm going to be doing. So I've got footage of stuff I've done before this whole pandemic rolled out, and I'm going to try and roll it into footage of stuff like me varnishing that and varnishing this, and I won't give you too many spoilers, but yeah, anyway, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're safe. I hope you're happy and that you haven't been too badly impacted. Sadly, a lot of people have. I don't know how it's going to affect this project timeline yet, because it's too early to tell. Still have a bit of work, so at least I can keep the money coming in for another while. But yeah, strange times. So yeah, without waffling on too much and sticking to that subject, it's so depressing. I will leave you guys there, and I will have a video out as soon as I can of me just doing odd jobs, like starting out for a cabin, anything I have on board. So I have a lot of stuff on board, way more stuff than I thought is on board, like materials. So I'm going to try and work my way through that, like finish some jobs. Probably won't get much progress done on the heads. Can do a bit in the forward cabin, do a load of varnishing. I've got loads of varnish left, and just general odd jobs. So look, wherever you are, be happy, be safe, and stay indoors, and I'll see you in the next episode.